Happy Halloween. Leave now.
Who's gonna say it?
Oh, probably you, because you have more energy right now.
Hey, I had a coffee, so...
I didn't sleep, so...
True. We're on totally different energy levels right now,
Yes.
so I'm gonna bring the intensity, and Shelby is going to calm me down.
I don't know.
She's like, I don't think I can. Alright, anyways, it's the start of the spooky season podcast. We're actually gonna come up with a real name for this eventually, but we're still brainstorming, so for now this is what we got. What's up, witches and ghouls? Welcome back to this podcast, hosted by
Shelby Welton.
and Bliss Courtney, and today we're just going to be discussing a few urban legends about ghost stories. Shelby actually doesn't really know much about these, so
I know a little bit about one, but it's because I found the video that reminded me of the story that I heard years ago, but I don't remember the history of it.
okay.
It's the railroad one.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew of that story, and I know experiences, but I don't know the full history behind it.
Well, I didn't put a ton of history about it, just a smidgen.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I lied. A lot of it's history, so...
Yeah, I figured, yeah.
Sorry, peoples. But what today is I'm gonna start with... I guess I'll start with the railroad one, since we just talked about it. Okay. So, it's the San Antonio, Texas haunted railroad spot. It's near the San Juan Mission. So, they put this on a Ghost Adventure episode. Yeah, people, I get it. Okay, I get it. They debunked it on Ghost Adventures anyways. And they said it wasn't true.
I know a lot of people are going to hate me for that, but I cannot stand that show.
Well,
the only reason is because I grew up with ghost hunters, and whenever I see, what's his name, Zach? I watched 2 episodes of that show, and he's just so overdramatic and extra, and I don't have that kind of energy all the time, so for me, I'm just you're annoying, and I can't believe you. No.
I get it.
Other people love the show. Fine. But for me, I'm just turn it off.
Well, I feel like it's okay to watch it and indulge in it as long as you know that some of the shit is staged. You know what I mean? I, however, grew up watching Haunting or Haunted or whatever it was, where people would tell their ghost stories.
Haunting.
Yes, bitch, that's what it was. Oh my god.
Paranormal Survivor. Ooh.
Oh my god, bitch.
Yeah.
That was my shit. That was my stuff.
Yeah, I still watch them to this day. I know, all of them.
Really?
Yeah.
My 11-year-old ass used to sit in my room by myself and watch that shit, and then get scared and run to the kitchen and run back because I was watching ghost stories.
Yeah.
And I would get all my stuffed animals and put them around me and keep myself in a little safe zone.
Yeah.
Fucking
no, I remember every Wednesday night it was Ghost Hunters night, and we would all sit in the family room and watch Ghost Hunters. And I would act all so cool and tough, oh no, this isn't bad. But internally I'm I really don't want to go to my black room alone, because now I'm kind of suspicious that something's gonna happen.
There's something under my bed, there's something coming out of my closet, bitch,
Yeah.
a demon's gonna crawl backwards towards me in the middle of the night. I don't know.
Yeah, it's such a good show though. Because I remember they did one at the Crescent Hotel, and that was one of their biggest findings. And it was the one where there was a soldier inside a safe, and he tilted his hat towards them on the, what do you call it, infrared camera? Yeah, it was creepy. It was so
That's the one in Eureka Springs, right?
Yeah.
Bitch, I stayed there. I had no experience.
Yeah. There's supposedly a lot of people have big experiences, but...
Nick thought he experienced something. My ass was asleep. And usually,
What
intuitive
floor
one.
is it? There's a certain floor that's extremely haunted, and you can hear kids running up and down the hall.
We were upstairs somewhere. We had to
Really?
we had to take an elevator, but I don't remember what floor.
Mm-hmm.
I just know it's a couple floors up. It had to have been at least the 2nd or 3rd floor, that's all I know. But in the middle of the night, Nick thought he heard, kids running up and down the balcony outside.
Mm-hmm.
But he thought there were, actually people out there. Because there could have been, because I think the people staying next to us did have kids, so I don't know.
Could be something, could not be.
Yeah, with that I don't really know. But I didn't know the Crescent Hotel was actually haunted, because we stayed and I didn't feel anything. So I was fuck it, this place isn't haunted.
Yeah. Now, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure the background history part of it was a guy started, a tuberculosis hospital there, and a lot of people died. I'm pretty sure that was part of its history.
I mean, it has weird vibes.
It
but
does.
It's not, it doesn't make me uncomfy to be there, though, which is kind of strange.
I mean, you can kind of, even though there's a tour you can pay for, and, it gets you into, more secluded areas of the hotel, you can easily just walk in
And feel the vibe.
Yeah, and you can walk upstairs or do what you want. They won't say anything because they don't know if you're staying there or not. You know. So, but yeah.
Okay, so I guess we might want to get started on this. So it was featured on Ghost Adventure episode. They actually debunked it. They tried it. They say that the car did get pushed over the railroad, but they debunked the baby powder thing, I think, or some shit. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's an urban legend around the area in Texas. The story first started out with a grim school bus accident where lots of students lost their lives. So
okay, and there was tons of students on a bus.
Yeah,
that's the only history part that I knew, but I didn't know any more about it.
Evidently, they think that the ghosts of the students from this school bus accident haunt the railway.
They're trying to protect the people who are stuck on the track.
Yeah, so apparently the bus stalled out on the tracks when the driver realized a train was charging right for them. He tried to get all the kids off the bus before the train hit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Of course.
So the bus and the train collided, and then a lot of the kids died. Mm-hmm. Anyways, now they say that if people visit, you put your car in neutral and put baby powder on your back windshield.
Which I've seen videos of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not only will your car start to move and go up over hill, over the tracks, and down to safety, but there'll be like little handprints all over where the baby powder was, evidently. Now, I mean, this has been debunked, so I guess it really just depends. A lot of people feel like they've seen, like, other ghostly sightings, like actual figures of the kids around the area. Again, there's not, like, a lot that's super concrete with it.
Right.
So I didn't really take anybody else's story because there was nothing that I felt like that was super convincing.
Now, if I ever go to Texas, I'm totally trying it out.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Because my mom wants to move to Texas, so if she does and I go visit her...
You're going to try it out.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because I want to know. Because...
I also think a big part of it is whether or not how much you believe in it and, like, how spiritually connected you are.
That's true.
Because I used to be a hard, like, oh, there's no way this stuff is real, ghosts are fake, blah, blah, blah. Nothing's happened. The more I open up to it, the more kind of experiences I've had, and the more accepting I am of it. You know what I mean?
You sound like Nick, yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Like, you'll find this on another episode. I don't have a lot of actual experiences, but I have, like, subtle things that's happened in my life.
See, he used to be a non-believer, too, until he moved into my childhood home. That's for our next podcast, so look out for that, because that's some shit. Anyways, that's all I really had about that one. That it was kind of just a short little, there's not a lot to say about it. That's just the history about it. And, I mean, everybody in Texas there, like, that's what they think. Like, it's their current location's urban legend.
Yeah.
Everybody has their shit, you know. We talk about the Crescent Hotel, which is really close to us.
Well, the one here is a spook light, which I don't believe in that. My dad supposedly had an experience there, but I went there, like, 2 different times and nothing's happened.
See, I've never been there either.
It's literally this old road, and there's tons of different stories behind it. There's an Indian one, and then there's, like, a soldier with a lamp, or something like that. There's so many different conspiracies of who it is and what it is. Yeah. So some say it's the spirit of an Indian, some say it's a soldier holding a lamb crossing the road. I don't remember the full story of what happened down that road, but when you drive down that road, supposedly a light will show up and it'll, like, chase you down the road until you're off the property.
The light's gonna fucking chase you down the road, bitch?
Well, in my dad's story, it, like, latched onto the back of his truck, and then he, like, went full speed down, and they looked behind him, and it wasn't there. Yeah. So... But the 2 times I've been there, nothing's happened, so I don't know. But then again, that was when I was really young and really didn't believe or think about that stuff.
See, that's the thing. That's what... Here's my theory on it. If you are open to the idea of accepting that there are spirits of any kind, whether it be in the religious aspect or you just believe that people die and their spirits linger, whatever, you have to be not necessarily, like, spiritually intuitive, because some people are naturally just kind of spiritually inclined when it comes to that. They can sense shit like that. Sensitive, psychics, mediums, whatever. There are people like that.
Which I have an interesting story about for a later show.
Okay.
Yeah. I pretty much called out a medium that I don't think was a real medium.
Oh, I think we talked about this.
Yeah.
We did talk about this. Okay,
yeah.
I know what you're talking about now. Okay. But, I think that if, not necessarily that you're a psychic or a medium or anything, but if you're just more open to it, you're not even that you've had an experience previously, but you're just willing to accept that other people have had experiences, and you go into, whoa.
Oh, my computer's gonna die.
So, back on track. Not even just that you've had to have your own experiences, but if you're open to the possibility of there being an experience, you'll more likely have one. And it's not that you're going to trick yourself into having one either, because I've had a lot of spiritual experiences, but there have been a lot of times where I've gone places and not had one, i.e. the Crescent Hotel. So it's one of those things where you feel it or you don't.
Yeah.
A lot of times. Okay.
Moving on.
I know. The next one. So this one is an urban legend where, like, literally every fucking country has their different take on it. Like, every country has a different version of this. So, and even the one for the United States is different than the one that I remember hearing when I was growing up. So I don't know where the fuck I got this specific one from. Maybe I, like, had a dream and this is where I developed this from.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. But basically, the White Lady, or Lady in White, is a type of female ghost, typically dressed in a white dress or similar garment, reportedly seen in rural areas and associated with local legends of tragedy. White Lady legends are found in many countries around the world. Common to many of these legends is an accidental death, murder, or suicide in the theme of loss, betrayal by a husband or fiancé, and unrequited love.
See, I thought it was just in the U.S.
No, it's everywhere. Like, I'm telling you, like, Ireland, fucking Germany, China, Japan.
Let's go find all the white
United
ladies.
States, Canada. All! Because, basically, so it's not just one urban legend. It's the White Lady is a type of ghost.
Okay.
And so, this type of ghost is tied to particular kinds of tragedies. Like, so...
She was killed by her husband. Bam, she's alive.
Kind of, yeah. So,
on her wedding night.
Oh my god, bitch.
Yeah, could you imagine?
I think that might be the one that I remember.
Oh, okay.
I think the story that I remember is she got left at the altar or some shit, and then she was walking down the road and she got hit by a car or something, I think. Or she died somehow.
What a wedding night.
I don't know. Either that or he murdered her. I can't really remember why, but all I know is the love of her life betrayed her in some way and she died. Okay?
Here's my question. Why the hell would she be...
on this rural road?
on a rural road. Is she that depressed at that point, maybe? Then she just ends up on
I think
a rural
maybe...
road?
I think she may have been walking from the altar, is what I mean. Like, she may have, like... I think she freaked out and ran from the altar because he left her. She was embarrassed. She was standing there all by herself and was running down this windy rural road and somebody hit her, is what I'm pretty sure happened. I think. I don't know. I don't remember for sure because, like I said, I can't find a specific one that I heard anywhere. I Googled it. I looked at one in every country. None of them were the same, so I don't know. I'm telling you, maybe I made this up. I'm not sure. But, anyways.
It reminds me of that one episode from Supernatural, because I used to, like, watch Supernatural religiously. They had one based off of that.
Really?
Yeah. They were on this rural road, and then the girl would be on the side, and they would pick them up, and they would take it to a house that looked abandoned, and it was her old house, and she would, like, kill the men that she tricked them to go to that house. Yeah.
Okay, that is a little bit more Hollywoodized than what I heard, but, like, it's similar. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, this story has been changed and twisted so many different times that it's just kind of become, like, a type of ghost than really an urban legend at this point.
Okay.
But anyway, she was walking down a country road trying to hitchhike. And so it's usually going to be towards nighttime and she'll hitchhike, and it's usually men she's preying on. And she'll get in the car, she looks distressed, she's like a damsel in distress, so obviously the guys are like, of course I'll pick up this hitchhiking beautiful woman, and so then she starts to tell them her sob story and about how, her husband betrayed her, and she tells them her whole backstory and whatever, and they start to feel bad for her, and then they go to look at her to say something, and she's fucking gone. She's not in the car anymore. That's what I remember. So...
yeah.
That, they pick her up, she tells them her whole story, they're halfway to wherever she told them to take her.
And she just disappears.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of one of my mom's ghost stories, which I'll wait for that one until the next episode.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really creepy. I'll just tell the basics of it because I'm not gonna go into too much detail.
Okay.
It's creepy.
I'm kind of intrigued now.
Yeah. You might freak out a little bit.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
I'm here for that.
Yeah. When my mom told me, I was like, that makes me uncomfy.
That's kind of surprising from your mom, too, because I didn't think she was super... But I guess...
I really don't know her stance on it. I guess I really haven't talked to her about it. But she talks...
Christian.
Yeah.
So obviously she believes in spirits.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense.
I don't know. But I think that situation always haunted her a little bit. Because it's kind of like, what? How does that even...
Dude, I have a story.
So, if you really want to know about one creepy freaking story that ends up kind of scary, that doesn't make any sense. Kind of on a cliffhanger, in a way.
Okay.
I don't know, because it kind of matches with the girl just disappearing.
Sick, okay.
Yeah. So, if you want to hear that, listen to the next episode.
There we go. And see, I think in the next episode, I will also tell a story that's not my story to... Maybe I should ask first, but I have a story that I want to tell, that pertains to my mother-in-law and my in-laws that they experienced when she was younger.
Yeah. That's
kind of a crazy story.
Yeah.
Because I remember when she told me that story for the first time ever, then I started going on a rabbit hole about all of my experiences, and that's when I started to realize, like, okay, so it's not just my family, we're not just weird, like, psychic, intuitive people,
right.
Like, this shit just happens. So, anyway, the very ending of the white lady thing, basically, this has happened to many people on the same road, and she tells them to go to the same spot every time, like, they pick her up at the same spot, she tells them to take her to the same place every time, but they never make it there, because she always just disappears.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, there are tons of different stories like that always come out, I feel like, every year. There's new ones, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I really believe that. I would have to see it.
See, that's my biggest issue. Yeah. Like, I'm more open to it, but a lot of it is I need to see it to believe it, and I've yet to see it.
See, I've seen and experienced stuff, but I know that they Hollywoodize and they make these urban legends and shit just because they can, and they over-dramatize stuff. Like, sometimes you have a spiritual experience and it's not crazy.
I have a couple of family members. Well, it's my dad and my aunt. My aunt refuses to talk about it because that scarring to her. But, like, I won't go into detail about it because I don't have permission to talk about it. And I don't want to indulge into it, but from what I've heard from my dad, that stuff would scare me too. But I never experienced it, so I can only imagine what it was like.
I feel like, though, that's because
they lived in a house that was very haunted.
You and I are spiritual, but in the way, like, of, like, light, Like, we don't dabble in the dark shit or anything. Like, yeah, no. I stay the fuck away from that.
Yeah.
So, I think that's
Ouija boys? Boys?
Ouija boys?
Ouija boys?
Fuck you, Ouija boys!
Ouija boards? Don't know her.
No. I will never touch one of those.
No.
Literally never. Not happening.
I won't even walk by one. Like, if I see one on a shelf, like, at Vintage Stock, I go around. I'm like, no, I'm okay. Thank you. So whenever I see people on YouTube bringing in Ouija boards to, like, haunted places, or just their own house, I'm like, are you dumb? Like, burn that thing, get rid of it.
It's like, they're like, oh, but I asked the things that, like, nobody else would know. My whole thing is it's like, it's a spirit, bitch. It's a demon, usually, most of the time, if it's a fucking spirit.
Because you're opening a doorway.
Yeah, to the spiritual world.
And a lot of things I noticed was, like, there's not really a lot of spirits in our realm. It's more of fragments of a spirit or a soul that have been left behind because it was so tragic and it's trying to figure out where it's at.
And where it needs to go. It's trying to find its direction. It's a
or it's
soul.
An evil,
evil
poltergeist,
entity.
demon, or something like that that's trying to cause chaos and hurt you. But most of the time, spirits usually do end up going and moving on.
And when they do, it's so hard to tap into that realm, to speak to them. So don't. That's basically just my advice. I mean, if you want to, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I advise against it. If you're really strong and you take a lot of precautions and you feel like you've got your shit together, you do what you want. But that's not something that I ever foresee myself doing.
No.
So,
No. Mm-mm.
you know, I
Not a
mean,
fan.
it happens.
Yeah.
But I also
Me,
feel
on the
like...
other hand, I'll say, don't you dare touch one. Ever.
But I also feel like people view, like, tarot cards and stuff like that in a negative light as well.
True.
And we do dabble in those. And I don't think tarot cards are inherently evil like people make them seem. It really is just a way for people to kind of...
It feeds off of your energy.
Yes. So
It's not opening a portal or anything. It's just feeding off of your own energy or someone else's energy if you're doing a reading for them.
And it helps with manifestations as well.
True.
Because then if you do a reading... and it predicts something, then that puts that idea in your head and you start to manifest that a lot of times.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's one of those things where I don't know if it's necessarily, like, inherently a spiritual thing. I think it's just more of a... Well, manifestation is kind of spiritual in a way. So
Yeah.
maybe
I mean,
it
you
is,
kind of mix
but-
it. You can kind of mix it in with, like, meditating and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's more of a spiritual thing.
Yeah, and I have my crystals and stuff on top of them and keep them safe, but yeah.
I have mine in, like, a silk pouch. I have it. Because they're, like, supposed to keep them with you at all times. I put them in... Ooh, what? A Band-Aid and paper.
You really went and bought a silk pouch for them, huh?
No, I found one that I didn't know I had, so...
You lucky.
I know. But yeah.
That can come for another episode for spooky season. We can talk about, like, tarot and crystals and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about crystals. I'm still worrying about them.
Me too.
It's so much. There's so much. Like, I can't even remember all the cards.
Me neither. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I do look it up on, like, Biddy Tarot.
Oh, yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's some cards I pull and I'm like, I have never even heard of this card. But
And
yeah.
then there's cards, like, the death card and shit that people do know, like, for the most part, what they mean.
Like the Tower. I think the Tower is the one I know the most. The Tower, and then the Empress, and the...
See, and people always make the
Another one.
Tower seem like it's gonna be bad, which sometimes it can be. It just brings about... Excuse me. It just brings about change in some kind of way.
I would
Like-
say the first time I ever did a tarot card reading, I ended up getting the Tower reversed. And I ended up having surgery 6 months later on my spine. So, that was a fun experience and kind of creepy. So,
Yeah.
that was a fun time. In less than a month, it'll be 2 years since that surgery. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
'Cause I
That's
feel
a
like
long time
I feel like it was
already.
only a few months ago. It's weird.
Sometimes I forget that we've already been friends for a couple of years. Because I feel like, because we just recently got close, that I'm almost like, oh shit, yeah, we were friends when we worked together 2 years ago already. 2 years ago
2
already!
years ago.
We really just blink and time just fucking disappears.
It does.
I can't.
Yeah. No, I watched this one video. It's kind of going off topic, but
That's fine.
yeah. But if you add up all the times you blink in a day, it takes up so much of your day that you're missing. I'm like, okay, we're already missing 12 hours when we're like sleeping of your time alive. But then you take the amount of time that
12. They're telling you going to bed. God
No,
damn.
I'm just saying if you half it,
Okay.
technically, 8 people sleep an average to 8 to 9 hours.
8, so that's a sweet spot
Yeah,
for me.
but if you think about it, people go to bed probably like an hour before they are ready to go to sleep, and they're in bed for like an hour after they wake up sometimes. So in total, you're about 10 to 12 hours in your bed.
Oh yeah, 10 for me then. Yeah, an hour before, an hour after, that's correct.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, it's like you're fucking watching me. Shit.
So you take that, and then you add in the amount of time that you're missing when you blink, which I don't think is that long, but it's still significant enough within a day. So you take away that time. You only are having about 7 to 8 hours of a day that you're actually experiencing, unless you stay up 24 hours.
My anxiety is screaming on the inside.
I
Why the
know.
fuck did you tell me that? Now I feel like time is fleeting way more than I did before. Now I feel like I
'Cause
need to
it
have
is.
my shit figured out in 5 minutes.
I know. Yeah. That's the kind of turmoil that I go down.
I do that all the time anyway. What the fuck? You made it worse! I'm again!
It's okay. You'll forget about it in a few hours, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, a few days.
Let's forget stuff so easy.
I wish.
Me too. It's part of my anxiety problem, because I never forget anything.
Yeah, there was a question. It was actually a really good question, but a lot of people answered it a way that I wouldn't. It was either forget every mistake that you have ever done, and every time you make a mistake, you forget about it.
No.
Exactly, that's what I thought. Or, what was the other one? It was... Damn it. What was it? Or, like, filter, like, you don't have a filter. Like, you say everything you think.
Oh, is this from the Sidemen video?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And, like, yeah, it was. Okay. And I even paused the video at that one, because they all said the one where they have to say everything. And I was like, I'd rather not, I mean...
Okay, so...
No, they said they rather...
Okay, you're talking about the one where they either can never talk again or say everything they think, is what it was.
Was that it?
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't that one. Because I remember specifically being like, no, I rather remember my mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And then rather than just not.
Me too, because here's
you learn
the thing.
from it.
Yep. You never grow unless you make mistakes.
Exactly.
You never grow unless you take those risks, because that's how you learn the best.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you remember your lessons, because sometimes if you don't make a mistake and somebody tries to teach you something, you're not always going to absorb that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to experience some kind of failure first in order to really take the information in.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, because I remember the assignment, they all chose the other one, the other option, and I was like, why? I was like, I'd rather, you know...
And I'm, like, you and I both beat ourselves up over the mistakes that we make, like, way
like,
too
I hate
hard.
it, yeah.
Yeah. And we still would choose to make mistakes, because...
I would be where I was if I didn't.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I would not even be who I am right now if it wasn't for all the shit that's happened and that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't regret it. Just learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't live with regrets, but you will make mistakes. That's inevitable.
Yeah.
You're a human being.
Mm.
You're
Things
not.
I
You're not a
regret,
fucking
but-
robot, and even robots make mistakes and fall apart because guess what? They're created by humans. Whoa. Anyways, we don't need to get into that shit. That's a whole different thing. This is spiraling down now.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks for listening.
It's been a great podcast. Check us out on Twitter. At
Oh yeah, they don't know because we had another recording, but we couldn't get it transferred.
No, because so it actually had visual too. It had like video.
Mm-hmm.
But our cameras suck, and my phone, for some reason, won't transfer over files to my husband's computer, and he's the only one who has a computer right now. My laptop shit out, and his old computer shit out, so I don't have a lot of options as far as that goes. And I couldn't get it sent over to Shelby so she could upload it to her computer. But, so, anyways, we're having some technical difficulties with that. We're trying to figure out a way to start adding visual, because we're on YouTube now. And then I know it's going to be a lot more entertaining for people to see if there's, like, visuals with it.
Right.
However, follow us on Twitter at thispodcast4. And then follow us on
4.
I know. Twitter does that shit, dude. What do you want me to say?
I know. It's terrible.
And then Instagram.
Instagram is at this podcast.
And then Facebook, this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then
YouTube, you have to YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. You have to specifically type out this with the dots in between each letter.
Yeah.
And then the
acronym.
podcast, and then go under channels, and we're like the third or fourth one down.
And then, as far as our website, I can't remember the link.
The link we'll have to put down in the description.
Okay.
Because until I decide to buy a domain, we have to do it through a link. Because people, either you have to remember the website, which is a long name, or just click a link until we can actually get a domain and have it show up when you Google us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're also working on setting up like a link tree, so that way we can just put a link to the link tree and you can get to everything from there.
Yeah.
We're also considering maybe vlogging. You know where I think we should vlog?
What?
TikTok. I think we should make a This Podcast TikTok.
Okay.
and maybe like every time we post a podcast, post a snippet of the podcast on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Like once we get video, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and then advertise like that. But then also like do like little vlogs on there so people can connect.
Yeah.
To us. That's an idea. If you guys think that's a good idea, let
Mm-hmm.
us know. Like we always say, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell on so you know every time we post.
Mm-hmm.
Follow all our other social medias, and we do take suggestions in the comments.
Yeah.
So
And on the website, we have it where you can engage with us a little bit more. We have it where we have like episode of the week, so it's the newest episode, and there's a forum that you can comment on, and everyone can. But you have to become a member, which is free.
yeah, we're not charging you people. Come
No,
on.
no, it's all free. And then there's also the idea generator that's on there, and you can enter an idea, and we'll see it, and then we'll put it down on the list.
Yep. We're not necessarily doing an advice column, but if on that forum you want to like ask questions or get advice or anything like that, we're willing to do that as well. This is the Healing Idealistic Show, so any
Which
anything.
will never say like, oh, this is what you have, because we are not.
We're not going to diagnose you.
Yeah, no.
But to the best of our abilities, we'll give you advice on either how we cope with something similar
or what you might want to look into to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Anyways, thank you guys for listening, and come back next week for another spooky season episode, but that one's going to be over our personal or not so spiritual experiences. So,
Yep. All right.
well, thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye!